Welcome back. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the grazing tools in HerdBook, from setup all the way through daily use. We'll start by creating a goat group first, because that makes paddock movement much easier to manage, and then we'll move through the full farm workflow: pastures, paddocks, the interactive map, paddock events, summary tools, and pasture activity tracking. I'm assuming you already have goats entered in the system, since groups need goats before they can be created. From the main navigation, go to Goats, then Add Goat Group. Here, I'll enter a clear group name, add an optional description, and then assign goats to the group. One nice detail here is that only unassigned goats appear, so it's easy to avoid duplicates. Once that looks good, I'll save the group. Note: to calculate accurate stocking density, an approximate weight must be entered for each goat in the group. The weight estimator in the goat's profile, or even a reasonable guess, is adequate for this purpose. Now that our group is ready, let's move into the grazing tools. Under Grazing, open Add Pasture. Here, you can create a pasture manually, but I recommend using Draw on Map whenever possible, because map-based pastures and paddocks work best with automated features. Another nice thing about using the map to draw pastures and paddocks is that the exact acreage is calculated for you. That's important for calculating stocking density, as well as using other pasture activities in the map. It is possible to navigate to anywhere on the globe using zoom and pan, but setting the map center somewhere in the vicinity of your farm is a very useful shortcut. To set the map center, click the Set Center button to go to that section of the user account settings page. A zip code will get you close, but to really drill down to your farm's location, enter coordinates from Google Earth or similar mapping application. Click Save Demographics, and the map will center on that zip code or those coordinates from then on. The HerdBook interactive map comes with several drawing tools for adding pastures and paddocks. The rectangle tool works very well for regular four-sided features, but none of my pastures seem to fit any known geometric shape. For that reason, I use the polygon tool almost exclusively. I'll only go through adding a pasture using the tools because paddocks are added in exactly the same way, with one exception. Each paddock must be assigned to a pasture, and that field is required when creating a paddock. Drawing a pasture or paddock with a polygon tool is easy. If drawing a pasture, click on Pasture. If drawing a paddock, click the Paddock button, and then click on the polygon tool to use it. Click on one corner of the pasture, and then click points along the boundary to draw the shape. At least 3 sequential points are needed to complete the polygon. Once you're satisfied with the pasture shape, roll the mouse over the starting point and click it to close the boundary. If you make a mistake, click the Clear button to start over. Click the Save button to enter pasture or paddock details. Use a descriptive title for the name, and enter the optional section title if your farm is spread out over several different areas. Note that the acreage is calculated automatically from the polygon coordinates, but this can be overridden if desired. I use notes extensively to describe the type of grazing and terrain of the feature. For example, I have one pasture that is too wet for grazing except in the dry season. The only difference in creating a paddock compared to a pasture is selecting the Paddock button in the Draw tools and specifying the pasture containing the paddock. I'll use the Rectangle tool here. It's actually much quicker if the shape approximates a rectangle. To use it, just click one corner of the paddock or pasture and move the mouse diagonally to the opposite corner. Do not hold down the mouse key while moving the mouse. As I mentioned above, the pasture name is required when creating a paddock. Here I've created 2 additional paddocks. Note the color coding of the paddocks, as this will change as we create move events. To see additional details for a paddock, roll the mouse cursor over the paddock title until it changes to a hand, then click. These details will also adapt with each event for that paddock. With our pasture and paddocks in place, the interactive farm map becomes the visual home for the grazing feature. Here you can switch between street and satellite views, toggle between paddock mode and pasture mode, draw new shapes, select and edit existing ones, and save those updates directly from the map. If you have multiple pastures, this is where you can quickly jump to that pasture center by clicking on its button. Shortcut buttons open the pasture or paddock list or the forms to create a paddock event. Now let's place the goat group into a paddock for the first time. Click the Add Paddock Event button. The first drop-down is Event Mode. Since this group hasn't been placed yet, I'll choose Initialize Group. Then I'll pick the date, which defaults to today, select the goat group we created earlier, choose the destination paddock, add a note, and record the event. Note that the color of Paddock South 1 has changed from blue to orange. In this way, it's possible to tell at a glance where your goats are grazing. After initialization, future rotations are even faster. This time, I'll choose Move. I'll keep the Move type set to Goat Group, select the same group, and notice that the From Paddock fills in automatically based on the group's current location. Then I choose the next paddock and save. If the destination is already occupied, HerdBook can warn you and let you confirm co-occupancy when that makes sense for your farm. Once events are recorded, the paddock summary gives you the management view. This is where you can quickly search by paddock, group, or goat, filter for occupied or empty paddocks, and narrow by date range. The table shows who is in each paddock, how many days they've been on or off, days grazed this year, stocking density, density days, move dates, next graze timing, and overgrazing warnings. The paddock event summary may be accessed directly from the map or from the main navigation menu by clicking Grazing, then Paddock Summary. If you want the full movement log, open Paddock Events by clicking Grazing in the main navigation bar, then Paddock Events. This page is great for searching, filtering by date, sorting, and editing existing movement records. Each row shows the date, event type, the group or goat involved, the from and to paddocks, and any notes that were recorded at the time. Any event may be edited by rolling the mouse over the event row and clicking it to open the edit form. The grazing feature also includes pasture activity tracking, which is especially useful if you want a history of what happened on the land itself, not just where goats moved. In pasture activities, you can log seeding, fertilizing, mowing, spraying, irrigation, soil tests, and more. To open pasture activities, click Grazing in the main navigation bar, then Pasture Activities. You can attach the activity to a pasture or selected paddocks, let acreage calculate automatically, add materials, track cost, and even pull in weather details for that date. There is even a custom materials catalog where you can save your most commonly used materials, saving time on future records. That's the essential grazing workflow in HerdBook. We started by creating a goat group, set our map center, then set up the land with pastures and paddocks, used the map to manage those locations visually, recorded paddock events to track movement, checked the summary and event history for oversight, and finished with pasture activities and materials for land management records. Once this foundation is in place, the grazing feature becomes a really practical daily tool for both planning and record keeping.